Happy New Year! It's the dawn of a new year, the dawn of a new decade. Happy New Year. I hope you've had a lot of time with family and friends during the holidays. Beginning of 2020. And I hope that 2020 is the year that you will start planned giving. The digits of 2020 add up to 4. So I've got 4 things that you need to have in place to get planned giving started in 2020. And I've got a plan that I'm going to reveal at the end of this. So stay tuned for that. Keep watching till the end. So 4 things you need to have in place before you can kick off planned giving in the new year. Your nonprofit needs to be at least 5 years old. Look, we're talking about people including your nonprofit in their estate plan. And you know that I always advise the place to start with that is gifts in people's wills. Now that's a gift to you when that donor dies. The donor, all your planned giving donors, need to be confident that your nonprofit is going to last longer than they do. That your nonprofit is going to survive them, right? So that there will be a gift for you at their death. You need to be at least 5 years old, have at least 5 years of history. Oh, cue the barking dogs in the background. It's a quiet street, usually. No, it is a quiet street. It's just not this morning at 7:30. So to have that confidence, for your donors to have that confidence, your nonprofit needs to be at least 5 years old. You need to have individual donors. If every bit of your revenue is fees for services, those people are not donors. If you're all funded by institutions, whether it's government grants or private foundation grants, if all your funding is institutional, there's nobody to include you in their will. So it's not going to work. You need to have individual donors. That's number 2. Number 3, those donors need to be 55 and over. That's your prospect pool for planned giving at the outset. All right. I know there's commentary about starting planned giving with folks who are in their 30s, 40s. I don't agree with that at the outset. Maybe in the out years, your program is 5 or 7 years old, 10 years old. Then you can start talking to people about planned gifts who are younger than 55. And I've got other videos and explanations about why I think 55 is the right age. Okay, but that's where you start your program, folks who are 55 and over. And number 4, those potential donors of the right age, they need to be consistent, loyal donors. You're not going to be acquiring new donors through planned giving. New donors to your organization are not going to include you in their will. So these need to be consistent, loyal donors who have made, if you're 7 years old, they've given you 7 gifts or maybe even 10 gifts in your 7 years. And if you're an older organization than that, if you've been around for 20 years or more, they've made 15 or 18 or 20 or 25 gifts in those 20 or 25 years. Consistent, loyal donors. So those are the 4 things you need to have in place. You need to be at least 5 years old. You need to have individual donors. They need to be at least 55 years old, and they need to be consistent, loyal donors. That is what you need to have in place to get planned giving kicked off in 2020. And I hope that you're going to do it. But it's also the beginning of a new decade, 2020 to 2029. In those 10 years, think about how far your planned giving program can go this decade. You could have even a small organization. You could have 100 people with gifts in their wills. And by 2029, you may have gone further. You don't have to. You could stick with bequests and that'll be fine for the whole decade. That's a very respectable planned giving program. But you may have gone further in the decade. But that's the smallest organization. Think of 100, maybe 150 people with gifts in their wills. Larger organizations, you could have 500, 600, 700 people with gifts in their wills this decade. So, my next video is going to be your decade plan for planned giving. How to proceed in the decade. How you can progress over these 10 years. So stay tuned. That next video, that'll be coming up. It's the dawn of the decade. But for now, it's the dawn of a new year. Get planned giving kicked off. Inaugurate your planned giving program in 2020 with these 4 things I just talked about. And then your decade plan is coming up. Get started. Get started in this year. Get started in this decade. Happy New Year. It's going to be a great one.